Hi, everyone. Um, Came up with an idea on another video. I was going through these pocketbooks that I have, just, browsing through them. And it kind of got me thinking, I picked these up late 70s, and Marvel had released a bunch of these things, and they basically reprint like 6 issues of classic Silver Age material. The Fantastic Four one has issues 1 through 6. This has some Strange Tales, early stuff of Doctor Strange, and of course the Spider-Man one. They have 6 issues each, and the Hulk has the first 6 issues. There was also a Captain America one and a second volume of the Hulk that had early Tales to Astonish issues. But it got me thinking. Marvel released these in the late 70s, and so I got to pick up some really early Silver Age books. These all have color reprints. Most of them have the covers as well. And that got me exposed to those really early Marvel stories. But also, thinking back, Marvel also reprinted a lot of their Silver Age stuff monthly as well. When I was younger, there was Marvel Tales, which printed out early Spider-Man adventures. There was, Marvel's Greatest Comics, which were reprints of early Stan Lee, Jack Kirby Fantastic Four stories. In fact, that's the first time I ever saw Lee and Kirby Fantastic Four was in one of those reprints. Marvel Double Feature reprinted Tales of Suspense. Marvel Spectacular was Thor stories. Marvel Superheroes was Tales of Astonish reprints. So Marvel did a lot of these reprint titles monthly in the 1970s that kind of gave us all these classic Silver Age stories. And, this was kind of important because DC was not doing that. I mean, occasionally they would have their, like a monthly book like Superman Family and Batman Family, and those would have reprints inside of them. But they also had new stories, and those reprints inside didn't have any sort of continuity with them. It was whatever they wanted to put in there monthly. Also, at that time, Marvel was releasing the Marvel Treasury editions, which had classic Silver Age reprints as well. And that's the only time DC was actually reprinting them, was in their Treasury editions. But again, that was DC's only outlet, whereas Marvel had these monthly books. They had the Treasury editions. Later on they had these pocketbook editions. They even reprinted through Simon & Schuster Origins of Marvel Comics, which is actually a published book. Son of Origins, Bring on the Bad Guys. All of these reprinting classic Silver Age stories, which kind of leaned into the one thing that Marvel was building at the time when they first started, was continuity. So, when they started printing books in the 70s, they had this continuity where, from issue to issue, the story would continue. It also would continue with other books if the character was a guest star, and all kind of connected and weaved. And because Marvel was reprinting and had these monthly books, we were, at the time when I was a young man, kid, getting a taste of the history of Marvel Comics, giving us more of their backstory, more of this connected tissue. So it kind of leaned more towards that importance of the timeline and all the characters they built throughout the Silver Age, that they continued to the Bronze Age, where I was collecting new books. So Marvel has always been all in on reprints. DC not so much, but Marvel was always all in. In fact, you have to remember, in the late 80s, Marvel started reprinting stories in the Marvel Masterworks, hardbound color books that had about 10 issues each, starting with the inception of the character. And, they would release like one a year that just continued on with the original Silver Age run. DC really didn't have that. I mean, DC was just kind of catching up with just releasing graphic novels at the time, because Marvel was also all in on graphic novels, reprinting, the modern stuff back in the late 80s. And DC was just catching up to them. So Marvel has always had their reprints. They've always been all in on the reprints. Now, let's go to the modern times. Omnibuses and Epic collections. So Marvel, also they had their black and white, essentials. DC had their showcases, which was black and white. Then, they went to the colors with the Epic collections. DC's finally getting on board with their finest collections that's starting to come out next year, where they'll reprint some of their early story stuff in what they call their finest collections. Again, I don't know why DC is always kind of running behind and Marvel's always up front with their reprints. Even on the omnibuses, the Marvel output on collected issues in, the giant omnibuses is but much more prolific than DC. Again, I think part of this is that connective tissue that they have. The fact that, they have this ongoing continuity that they've never really given up. Whereas DC, they had Crisis and they have had multiple Crisis and they seem to reboot, every 10 years or so now, and they don't have as much connective tissue. So again, it was kind of stirred on this that Marvel's always been the biggest player when it came to reprints. I collect them because a lot of that reprint material is from when I was a kid, and I never expected to see these really nice collected editions, hardcovers with all these other materials included with them. Do any of you collect reprint books? Are you just concerned with modern comics and you don't really care about the Marvel history or the DC stuff that comes out? Let me know. I really kind of want to know, because I'm all in on history. I'm big on comic history. You probably know that from if you've watched any of my videos. Also, I'm wearing my shirt today. Does anyone know who this is? If you do, let me know in the comments. And I think I might be doing a video on this coming up. And again, as always, thanks for watching these videos. I appreciate them. I just do them when I have a thought, and I had a thought. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe. You know the whole drill. I appreciate it. Also, I got some more new subscribers, and so much appreciate everyone who subscribed to the channel. And if you want to see any particular videos on subjects, please let me know. I appreciate it, and thank you so much.